Welcome back to Retro Killscreen, the only place on the internet where you can hear about retro games. As always, I'm Paul, and with me is John.
Yo.
And special guest Nathan Krasnor Roar, with his own Facebook page, is back with us.
Yep. Hey, thanks for having me back.
All your fans are extraordinarily excited right now. How do you feel, sir?
Pretty good. I'm still kind of thinking through the bold claim that this is the only place for retro game anything on the internet.
This is big words, big words.
It is the only place on the internet that matters.
Right. Okay. Yes. Qualifier.
Okay. Yeah. So I got to throw that qualifier in every single time we do anything, I guess.
Well, I don't know.
That, like, if you're on the internet and you want to matter, you should probably be at Pixel Response listening to some stuff we have. Or actually, you know what? If you're on YouTube, John's channel is pretty good, I guess.
Thank you, I think.
I'm in no way affiliated with this at all. So all these claims are strictly them. I have nothing to do with it. But, so just straight up, we were supposed to talk today about Killer 7. And, I
just played it.
I didn't want to. I found out at Wednesday. I was asking somebody if they remembered what I said that we were going to do while I was doing a live stream. They said Killer 7, and I was like, oh, I don't want to play that, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
So we are not talking about Killer 7 yet. We might not at all, by the sounds of it, but...
Well, but maybe just broaden it to Suda, and then you can finally play Lollipop Chainsaw, and I'll play Killer 7. If I'm even there.
What do you mean, finally play Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yeah, it's also not retro, so...
Oh, you're right. That ruins
not
the whole
even
thing.
Remotely.
But Suda...
Because if we were going to go that way, I would talk about Shadows of the Damned way before I talk about Lollipop Chainsaw.
Right, and you can't talk about that either. So what's that game he made, Flower Sun Rain? Play that.
Never played it.
Well, play it.
Did we even get that over here until DS?
Till DS, but it's like a PS2 game, so it counts.
It's PS1, I think.
PS1, see, it counts even more.
It counts double. If you can find a copy that I could play, I will be all over that.
The PS1 one or the DS one?
It doesn't matter, because right now we are actually just going to do kind of a retrospective on a retro podcast, as it were, of a bunch of games that were important to us growing up. I mean, we just kind of made a quick list here of stuff that came to mind right away without much of a thought.
Yeah. I was kind of going for, like, the earliest gaming experiences you can remember.
And John and I were just kind of all over the map. So,
yeah.
Like, you were going Atari. I don't think either of us even have Atari, even though I'm pretty sure both of us have played it.
Yeah, I never owned an Atari at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't either until... I've known people that owned it, but it was never important to me, the Atari games, so that's why nothing was included there. My earliest was Mario 2 on the SNES.
My earliest was Pong, but then I went from Pong straight to the NES.
Yeah. And Nathan's is probably Fight Night?
Well, Fight Night, maybe Enduro. I'm not 100%.
You also have Pac-Man, Centipede.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of arcade stuff on here.
Well, also some licensed games, which they just kind of stuck in my memory as things I thought were really cool, and I don't think they're probably good, really, by most judgments, but they were early, so they kind of have that advantage. Ghostbusters and the Goonies. The music in them, specifically.
Ghostbusters isn't good.
Ghostbusters on the Atari is slightly different, and I'm going to say slightly better than the one you probably played on the NES.
I would agree with you. I actually own the one on the NES, and I've seen footage of the Atari one, and it does look better.
There's like different cars you can get and like upgrades and stuff for them, and it's weird. Like there's a economy layer to it that just isn't in that NES one. I have the NES one because I was like, well, this is the only one I can find, and it's probably pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. But I think the end game is different too. Like I watched, I guess AVGN's video of it where he's like mashing A to climb up the building. I don't think that's in the game on Atari. Like that sounds terrible, and I don't think that was in the one I played. So I don't have those negative associations with it.
How they like try to streamline it and just kind of broke it for the NES version.
Maybe I'm not sure. Like, although also maybe I never actually made it past the Marshmallow Man to get into the building. So I never beat that game. So maybe it ends terribly, but I always enjoyed collecting ghosts and going around the city and whatever. And I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% convinced, like, I have this right, but the longer you spend driving around on the overworld map dictates how long it'll take you to drive to where you then want to go. So you shouldn't screw around with that. Like, don't just wander around on the overworld unless you are doing it intentionally. It's a weird game, but I liked it. And Goonies, I mainly remember just because the music was really cool. Like, I'm pretty sure the way it actually played was like a really bad platformer. But
right.
It plays that, like, what is the main song from the Goonies movie that they sing at the end of the movie?
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in years. I can't remember.
Okay, I'm going to type in Goonies theme song. There's a great, like, no-bit, good enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Goonies are good enough. There's an amazing version of that song in that game.
I've never played that game.
I've never seen the Goonies.
Okay. That's a thing a lot of people have, like, affection for. I probably watched it too late. It's okay.
Literally the only thing I know about the Goonies is Truffle Shuffle.
Truffle Shuffle. Yeah. And Short Round from everyone's favorite Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
That one as well.
Seriously?
So,
yep.
He's got gadgets. He's like an inventor.
I didn't mind that movie, by the way.
That's fine.
You were saying that sarcastically. I know. I just want to put it out there that I didn't mind it.
The Goonies are the second Indiana Jones movie.
The second Indiana Jones movie.
I think it's better than Crystal Skull.
That's easy, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Controversial opinions here.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than this terrible movie. So it's like, yeah, I guess.
That one's not that terrible either, though. But whatever. That's not right.
I do agree with you.
Okay. Like, aliens are, like, doofy, but it fits the 50s. Like, that's what they were going for.
Yeah, you know what isn't doofy? A Templar holding the Holy Grail.
Yeah. I mean...
Invisible bridges.
Shades of goofy.
God.
Weren't invisible, just really good angles of vision.
Yeah.
Reflecting of light.
That was pretty good. That's edgy. Yeah.
I threw that one specifically for you. I thought you would enjoy that one.
Well, yeah, if you boil it down, it's like, what's more likely, aliens or God? That's a conversation. I don't know.
Probably not a conversation we should have here, though.
Yeah, nice and controversial here on Retro Games. Like, let's talk about Centipede or something.
The best place on the internet for your retro games and God discussions.
No, let's just not get into it. Fight Night. Okay, let's just move off of me for a second. Let's talk about other games. I'm a little, like, I feel like I'm hogging the spotlight or something. John, tell us about Worms Armageddon.
It is one of my favorite games for multiplayer. I love playing that game. I still play it to this day.
Okay.
It was one of the first games I played on my computer when I got one.
Nice.
Was that like 96 or something? When did that come out?
Worms 2 was probably around 96, but Worms Armageddon was 99. It was on the turn of the millennium.
I believe I bought that game at Staples. So
yeah,
I got it from Radio Shack.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
I still hold true that there is Radio Shack like around here. By the way.
I thought it was just the Source now.
There is the Source, but I have walked into a Radio Shack. I don't remember where, but if I ever find it
when I was
again,
in the States, there were still Radio Shacks. I went into one.
Yeah.
And it is pretty much still the Source, so they barely changed.
Yeah. I mean, there is still the Source with the words Radio Shack above it. That's what I'm getting at, I guess. So I've actually received people telling me that I'm wrong, that are Canadian. So I can't remember why the hell we were even talking about Radio Shack at some point, but it's a thing, people. I will tweet it if I ever see it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Worms Armageddon. I never played Worms until they released it on the PSN for the PS3. And I think that was the only time I ever played it. I had a good time, though. I played with 3 other people, local co-op, so that was pretty fun.
John, do you remember a game called Lero?
For what system?
It's a PC game. It's like a real-time multiplayer game where you play as worms, and it's ridiculous. I'm looking at pictures of it now. Like, it has grapple hooks and all this stuff.
No, yes!
Okay.
Oh god, that game was fun.
Yeah, it's like fast-paced, crazy.
I remember it looking like kind of like garbage though. Like it was like super pixelated, but it was fun.
According to Wikipedia, this game provided inspiration for the game Sold At. So
Lero or Lyra?
Liero, Liero.
That's why I couldn't remember it.
Finnish programmer made this game, but yeah, I don't know. It was just another Worms.
Yeah, I played the hell out of that game. A
Hmm.
lot of people who were like, I was in a Worms community at the time, the allotment, and a lot of people were like, "You should try out Lero." Lero's pretty good. I still like Worms a bit more, but Lero is a completely different kind of crazy nonsense.
Like if you just want to get rid of that turn-based strategy element and make
it is Worms without the turn base.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
And not, obviously, like arguably, like nowhere near as expressive art or anything. It's just stripped down, like simple look, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, Paul, Super Mario Brothers 2, really?
What do you mean, really?
No, I'm just asking. I don't know.
You have such a condescending tone every time.
Well, it's not even a Mario game, it's Doki Doki Panic with whatever.
I know, it's great.
Oh, okay.
Because Mario games are kind of terrible.
Oh, okay. So you like the multiple playable characters, or what is it about this one?
I don't actually know, really. Like, I'm just trying to get past the nostalgia factor, and it's kind of hard because it's so ingrained in my memory. It struck at that time when you're kind of developing, like, as a young kid, like, what your tastes in video games are.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mario 1, as I was saying a little off air before, was just kind of the game that came packed in. Like, you would watch your parents play it or whatever, you would play it with them, and you would suck at it or whatnot. It was just the thing you had with the system. Mario 2 is where it all seemed to click with me. Maybe I liked the look of it quite a bit better, the different worlds. When you stumble upon your first warp zone, and then you're just like trying to find all that stuff before the internet took hold, and you're just like talking with friends and stuff. So like, well, if you go to this stage and you throw down the potion, open the door, and in the like dark version of the world, you go down this tube, you'll go to this world and stuff like that. It just kind of struck at a really great time.
Oh, subspace.
It is kind of neat that the worlds don't really fit the same pattern as later stuff. Oh, I guess there's still an Egypt level, so desert, but like there's a lot of clouds and weird stuff.
The ice level with the fucking whales. I hate that level.
Whales. When do you see whales that often? I don't know.
They're your platforms, though. You can ride their spouts up. Their water spouts.
Ooh, who was your go-to playable character? Or did you
Princess Toadstool.
Okay. Flying.
Yeah, totally. I don't think I ever mixed it up. I tried Luigi for a while because of his jumping. But Luigi's
one of the fastest characters for movement and the jump.
Yeah.
But I believe Toad was the fastest overall. At least he's the fastest picking up stuff.
He's the fastest picking up, and I think fastest running, too.
Yeah, I think Mario was actually pretty useless in that game.
Well, he's just kind of like a mid, like does not excel in any category. So
no, yeah, he was the average character. Luigi had the highest jump.
Yeah.
Peach could fly, which is why everyone picked her.
Right.
And Toad was the fastest pickup, and he was also the smallest, so it was easy to dodge stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like if it was an RPG, Mario's starting stats would be all 0. So
pretty much.
That's pretty much why nobody really cared for him. I liked Luigi for a bit, but he was always hard for me as a child to get used to, like really floaty.
Yeah.
Even to this day, it's kind of hard to play him, but that might also be because I played Toadstool so much, so...
I remember there's one specific stage I always used Toadstool for. I think it was like the second ice stage where you had to dodge all those Bezos.
Yep, that's the second.
I can't remember. I can't believe I remember those things are called Bezos.
Yeah, that I have that pattern memorized from doing it so much as a kid that's not even a thing anymore, which is kind of great. I love those moments where you just you still have muscle memory for a video game. I mean, I'm sure specifically John, that feeling, like Ninja Gaiden and all the weird crap you play. So where like everyone else is struggling and you're just kind of like not even paying attention to the screen and moving. So
I wish I could talk about the recording we did on the weekend for a video, but I don't know when it's going to go up. I'll talk about it off the recording, but you'll get a good laugh. But you will appreciate it because this is a game you like.
Awesome. Is it Mega Man 3?
No, it is not. But that is an excellent game.
Yeah, I think I've said it before that was one of like my defining Christmas moments. growing up that I got that as a gift one year, and I was just the happiest little fuck ever. That game, like, I grew up, my cousins had an NES, and they played Mega Man 2 all the time, and I could never get past anything because I was still too young at that point, and just watching them, it was kind of enthralling. So Mega Man 3 specifically was the game that I came to, and it was my first one that I had over them and like over my other friends and whatever, because I got that when it came out. Like that, it came out that year, and I got it for Christmas or whatever. Back when video games were, I was going to say back when video games were expensive, but
technically they were more expensive back then. Like Chrono Trigger was like $120,
and for what you get too. So yeah, but yeah, that was always one of those games. The theme songs for all of the Robot Masters in that game are firmly, like, I dream about them sometimes still.
2 and 3 were the best original Mega Man games in my opinion. Like 3 was my favorite for the longest time, but I think I've slowly come around to saying 2.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. They're kind of interchangeable in my mind now, but 3 was like the one growing up that made the impact for me.
The thing with 3 I liked is that it had basically almost double the length. Because you did the main stages, and then you had to go back and do like harder versions of 4 of the stages.
Yes. Which had 2 Robot Masters from the second game in suits.
I wish you could have gotten their powers as well. That would have made it like fantastic.
That would have been so good. Yeah. Nathan, do you have any memories with Mega Man, or were you just completely left out of this conversation?
I guess it was Mega Man 2 specifically was a game I would play kind of annually at my sister's grandma's house. They had an NES, so I would just kind of play whatever games they had.
Right.
And that was one of them. The original Legend of Zelda was one of them, and then I forget. I think they had like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and stuff. But I definitely put in some time with Mega Man 2, but I was really bad at it. I didn't beat it until years later when it came out on that like collection on GameCube or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, if there's any Mega Man game I'm going to try to beat, it's that one, because I failed to when I was a kid. So then I just kept playing it and managed to get through it.
And like John was saying, it's arguably easier than 3.
Maybe I didn't. I don't think I even played 3 because I just have no memories of it. So it's just like I don't know what this is. This is new guys. These aren't the guys.
Fair enough. Yeah. If we're going to talk about games from Grandma's house, my grandma had an NES for when the kids came over. They didn't have, like, their kids obviously were completely grown up, so they didn't have any young ones around. Mm-hmm. The only game they had was Super C on the NES.
Oh, wow.
So they kind of struck gold, kind of, just by randomly buying this game system. And it was like such an enthralling game to have the kids play for a long time. It was my first real introduction to Contra in the way that like I could sit down and play with it, because I've never owned the Contra games growing up. I have played them at other friends' house and stuff, but I wasn't able to sit down and spend like 2 hours straight just going through it. So that Super C was the defining Contra for me growing up.
Weirdly, my defining Contra was when I was like 15, Shattered Soldier. That's the one.
Okay.
Shattered Soldier is a really good Contra game.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was just like none of the other ones just caught my attention, or I spent time with them, and I was just like, I want to play this. Like, I don't know why I sought it out, but I was like, I'm going to buy this on eBay. Then I bought it and thought it was awesome.
Well, you and I played Contra at my house.
Yeah, like I finally like went through the original, but I'd never done that before. Like it just wasn't a thing. I think like a friend of mine was way into emulation, so I probably saw like that and Alien Wars and stuff like that.
Definitely, yeah.
That way, but I just didn't ever play it like seriously. So yeah, Contra kind of missed me until the PS2. I don't know.
And John, you and I played Contra as well.
Yeah. Or did we?
That was the XBLA version.
Oh, right. Okay, I was like, when did we play the NES one?
And then we went to the next one. And
the arcade version of Super Contra, yeah. Holy crap.
That's
hard.
That is really hard. I think we got to the 3rd stage as our best.
I got to the 4th stage once. No, you got to the 5th stage once. Like, you just had one run where you did, like, exceptional.
Where were you, though?
I was dead.
Oh.
I was dead in, like, stage 2. You were just kicking ass.
But then there was, like, 3 other times where I was dead in stage 1 and you went to 2 or 3 without me.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like the luck game in that game, I think.
It's the top-down sections that would always screw us over.
Oh, those were so bad. Yeah.
Because your bullets just had, like, garbage range, unless you had a good weapon.
I do want to play some more Contra now. I don't have Xbox.
Go down and, like, do a proper run of Shattered Soldier.
Yeah. Next LP?
No, I gotta be... If I'm gonna do an LP of a Contra game, I want to be really good at it. So, as much as I love Shattered Soldier, that game kicks my ass still.
Yeah. Like a Contra game should.
Yeah, and the Shattered Soldier and Neo Contra are the ones that are basically set up with a rating system. So to get the proper ending in like the final stage, you need to be doing pretty good.
Right.
And to get the secret ending, you need to have played a perfect game like Never Die.
Yeah.
And I've seen one guy, a friend of mine, used to have like the Speed Demos Archive speed run for Shattered Soldier. Like he was good, really good at that game, and he's the one who introduced me to the game. But I got decent at Neo Contra. I ended it with an A, but I never got the S video. And I don't even think I've beaten Shattered Soldier on my own.
I'm trying to think. In Shattered Soldier, is there like extra stages you get access to if you do it right? Like if you're playing.
Well, there's a point in the story where basically if your rating is garbage, as in you've been dying a bunch, the story will just be like, yeah, no, your character's died because of reasons.
And as part of, and it's like the game's over.
Yeah, and it's play on a harder difficulty or play better to get the true ending and extra stages.
Right, like I've definitely gotten the bad ending, and then I was kind of like for a time training up to try to get the good one, and I've like gotten to levels beyond where I was, but it's just like this stuff is crazy. Like there's some amoeba boss or something that like you have to kind of just shoot his outer shell to the point where it's like caved in enough so you can hit the core, but it just keeps kind of expanding out, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's as far as I ever got, but I don't know. It was like stage 5, I think. Unless I'm misremembering. Maybe I killed that thing. But whatever. There's weird bosses. They vomit on you sometimes. It's crazy.
Yeah. I have no point in this discussion.
Okay. Hey, did you guys ever play bad Atari ports of, like, arcade games?
Probably not.
Yeah.
What are you talking about specifically?
Like Centipede, Pac-Man, Poo-Yan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Like Pole Position? That was an arcade game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember them, though, on the Atari.
Okay. Just those were kind of important early stuff. Especially Poo-Yan. Like, that was
especially
the game. That was the game I was, like, overjoyed with. Like, even if it's, like, the worst port ever, it was in Game Room.
Yeah.
And I got myself in the top 10 leaderboards. And I was really stoked.
I seem to remember Jeff Gerstmann loving it, too.
Like the good version, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like I put up with that one, but there's like no music in it or something, which was fine for me because I was just like, well, I'll just listen to this podcast or something,
right? And
play hours and hours of Poo-Yan. But yeah, that was some important stuff. You gotta save the pigs. The wolves are keep coming, climbing the cliffs. It's a weird game.
I remember there was I think there was a MAME cabinet at one of our local arcade things with that on it.
Oh, yeah.
And you played it quite a bit there, from what I remember.
Yep. I did do that. Like, I felt a little bad hogging that cabinet, though, because it had so much other stuff on it. So people were just like, I want to play Pac-Man or something. And you're just like, all right, I'm going to play a couple games, and then I'm going to go away.
Yeah.
Or something. But I really just want to stand here for like 2 hours.
Cabinet hogging is really bad at that thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
It's just an etiquette thing, right? And it's like no one... I don't even know. I was never at the height of arcade, so I don't know how people were supposed to do that. But you're supposed to put down a quarter and be like, I got next, right? And then.
But what if you don't need the quarter, man? Protocol's gone completely out the window.
Right. How do you signal
it's complete
that
anarchy.
Yeah, you're right. Free-to-play arcades.
So what we should do is make fake quarters, and then next year when that rolls around, or this year, I guess, we'll put them down on the machine and say, I got next.
Like symbolic quarters.
Even though you and I were on that Tron machine for a long time.
Well, yeah, but you needed to beat it. You had to get there. It was really only like 10 minutes. We have a video of like the whole thing. So it's not that bad.
It was like 12 minutes, and that's a long time for the people that were waiting the whole 12 minutes while we talked to a video camera while playing.
I guess. I don't remember if anyone was really like chomping at the bit to play some Tron, but...
No, there was people that were waiting there for at least 8 of those minutes, right behind you.
Oh. See, that's how zoned in I was. I just didn't even notice they were there.
That's what Tron will do to you.
Yeah. I'm trying, like, John, you were at MagFest. How do they handle it there? Or is it same? Like, people just stay on it?
It's kind of the same. Just the difference is there's a ton more machines there, so.
Okay. So hopefully people want to wander off to check something else out.
Yeah, for the most part. Like, it's easier to line up for, like, the fighting games where people just kind of take turns, or, like, the pinball machines, stuff like that. For, like, the actual action games, like, you'll probably play through to completion if it's on Infinite Credits. Like, me and a girl dressed as Mad Moxie ended up playing through all of Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja.
Nice. That sounds like the best experience at a convention ever.
It was funny, like, I mentioned where I was from. I was like, oh, Calgary has the best weed. I was just like, okay.
Good thing she said that to you, because obviously you partake.
Yeah.
Daily. Well, that was when you had the hair, right?
Yeah, I had my hair super long, and I was wearing, like, my toque or beanie, whatever you want to call it. So I'm like, my hair, I looked like the biggest hippie.
You're just like, far out, dude. Or
right
whatever,
on, man.
whatever the kid hippies say these days. I'm out of touch.
I look like a kitty Tommy Chong. Clean shaven.
Wow. All right.
He's not here, man.
Somebody needs to draw that.
Oh, God. Up in smoke. That's where my troubles go.
Screw that. I'm probably just going to take the Up in Smoke like cover and put your face on it. Yeah. Anyways, back to video games, I guess. I'm just looking at your list here. There's nothing we can really cleanly segue into, John, on your list here.
My list is all just like, oh man, I played that a lot as a kid.
Speaking of arcade-like experiences, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played the one on the NES a lot. I had that. It was one of my 5 NES games when I was a kid.
What were the other 4?
Kung Fu.
Yeah.
River City Ransom.
Nice, yeah.
Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf.
Okay.
And Mario / Duck Hunt.
Oh. Okay. That's a pretty decent lineup there, I guess.
What's Lee Trevino's golf? What is that?
I was kind of wondering that too. I was hoping you would
It's a golf game made by SNK, but it's called Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf for some reason. There's no fighting in the game.
Oh, I was like, oh, they changed this up? You can just punch dudes if you're not feeling the rest of it? But, okay. No,
that would be too good of a game.
Yeah.
If you could punch the guy that took the tee off next to you or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Oh, well. Okay, so TMNT2 significantly different in the arcade, or?
No, well, I mean, like toned down graphics, obviously, because it's the NES, but it plays the same, and they added in extra stages.
Oh, okay.
I think it plays tighter actually than the arcade one, because the arcade one's combat felt really weird at some points.
Yeah, it's also meant to take money from you too, though.
True.
So, what were the extra stages?
There's a point where there's like a weather machine released in New York where everything's turned to winter. And you're walking around like Central Park, I think?
Yes, I remember that.
Wait, I think I'm slightly confused. It says arcade game in the title, but this is the NES port? Or... Yeah,
it's TMNT2, the arcade game, is what it was called. That was through the name of the NES game.
I may have played this, but I don't.
You probably have. If you saw screenshots or something, you would recognize it.
I definitely had a couple NES.
You might also play the third one, which was like the Manhattan Project, which played pretty much the same with some slight changes.
Mm-hmm. I do remember Frozen Over Central Park.
Yeah.
With the snowmen.
And then there's like I want to say the kabuki area, like the traditional Japanese house. But I think that was in the arcade game.
Yeah, I don't remember that one specifically off the top of my head, I guess. I don't know. That game's really good. You also have here TMNT 4 Turtles in Time.
Of course, everyone played Turtles in Time a bunch.
Yeah.
That game that's still fun.
I mean, I wouldn't say I played it a bunch. I never owned it, but every time I was at my friend's house who did own it, we would play a little bit, so there's that, I guess.
I think that must have been how I played it, too. Like, a friend owned it, or I rented it a lot, but...
Yeah, you never owned it.
I didn't own it until recently. Like, I was just like, I should just have this. I think it was, like, post getting burned on the XBLA version.
Right.
I was just like, I'm just going to buy the thing. I'm just going to, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I forget what I even paid. It was just like, I need this original thing. So I can listen to this music, most importantly. And then,
I still don't own it, so I'm missing out.
You know, beat 'em ups, but that one was hit at the right time.
I have the reshelled versions on each system.
What, you own it twice?
Yeah.
Was one PS Plus at least, so it was free? Okay, thank goodness for that.
One of them was free.
Yeah, I don't know. Reshell
I gave them $20.
That 8-way combat system they put in the Reshell just did not feel right. They remixed all the music and kind of made it worse.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the common complaints was like it wasn't the Super Nintendo version, which was the superior version. Like if they didn't add any extra stages.
Right. I guess I have TMNT 2 as well, the port they did on XBLA. So I have that too. We should play that sometime.
Which one?
2, the arcade game.
Oh, 1989 or whatever they called it.
Yeah, whatever they called it. I can't remember what they called it.
Yeah, no, that's fun. Like I love Krang's theme from that game. It doesn't fit at all, but it's such a good song.
Mm-hmm.
It's like do 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 do. It's like this super cheery song that plays for when you're fighting this giant brain in like a giant mech suit.
Makes sense. Nathan went oddly quiet, so let's move on.
I don't like. Yeah, Turtles, man. I watched that cartoon as well, and the feature films.
Apparently, that new cartoon's really good.
Okay. I saw most of that crossover one they did as like an anniversary thing, but I don't know. It's like a movie, basically, where the turtles from our childhoods met the turtles from other future kids.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I have to look this up.
It's called Turtles Forever.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Like, they kind of really take advantage of how goofy some of the stuff the old turtles would get up to. Like, at some point, there was just a giant mutant slice of pizza running around in the streets, and I was like, this is fantastic, because the future turtles were like, what is this? Like, what is happening? This is stupid. And it was like, you're right, it was, but it was fantastic.
I have to see this now.
Yeah, it was the Fox series in, like, the turn of the millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a clever thing.
This cover looks amazing, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, so I know what I'm doing tomorrow. But
it's worth a look. It's pretty clever.
I think the second half of the series is a lot better than the first, the Turtles Forever bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Nathan, you were speaking a little bit earlier about licensed games.
Yeah.
You also have Mickey's Magical Quest written down.
Yeah, that one I definitely have I remember a lot of things about it I really like. Playing it again sort of recently.
You misremembered it?
I sort of misremembered it, but I still like some of the stuff it's doing.
Yeah.
Like the different outfits and the different stages that kind of play off of those. Kind of a simple setup. It's like, yo, Pluto got kidnapped. You gotta go get him. Go. You're just like, all right. It's got like a wizard turban.
Smacking tomatoes that spin around like a helicopter and take you up.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could grab those and fly up for a bit when I started replaying it, because games just didn't tell you that stuff. It's like, do you have the manual? No, not anymore. Well, good luck, yo.
I remember loving that game.
Yeah,
I haven't played it recently like you have.
Yeah, it's like kind of brutal in some ways. It's just like, you got to get this jumping on this weird, like you're running on top of a giant rolling tomato, and then you got to make this jump at the end of it. And if you don't, like, you just died. That's it. You screwed up. Like, it's just kind of weird. This Mickey Mouse game was kind of brutal in a couple ways. But I also like Mickey Mania, but mostly because it references movies a lot.
Right.
I remember being kind of lukewarm on Mickey Mania.
Yeah, like playing, like,
it looked nice.
Yeah, like it does a bunch of different styles based on like which movie you're talking about, like black and white, or like going into the 40s. It kind of has this slightly washed out colors compared to later ones. Like, it's kind of neat. But yeah, the actual platforming of it is pretty simple, and that was another one. Like, playing it again years later, it was like, I like what this is trying to do in terms of having variety and whatever, but this is not very fun to play. But oh well. David Jaffe, he made that game, so
did he?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
I think that was his first known like director credit.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
So, yeah. I don't know. Like, you can't really see that in there maybe that much.
Well, what do you expect from David Jaffe? Because really, most people know him now for God of War and Twisted Metal.
Right. I expected some kind of Calling All Cars type business. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't play that game. No one did.
Yeah, I own it.
What?
I don't know. I bought it when it came out.
All right.
No, not really.
I didn't even realize it had come out. Like I thought it was just something he was working on that never got finished.
Calling All Cars?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it came out years ago as a PSN thing.
2007, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for being highly dismissive of that game. I just remember it was kind of just didn't do much. It was just
it's kind of shitty.
Is it, or is it like you need 4 friends to play it, and then
it might be you need 4 friends to play it because I never played it with another person.
So there you go. That's what we're doing when we hang out next time. We're playing Calling All Cars.
Do you remember?
You can't play it online because the servers are down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll sit on a couch like David Jaffe intended and play it proper.
Yeah, there you go. Remember that Doritos game?
Dash of Destruction?
Which one?
Yeah,
the dinosaur one was great.
Yeah, that one. It plays kind of like that, where you're just kind of like a car.
Okay, that's not bad.
Going around, you're trying to get money, get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get paid driving your tiny car.
Yeah, there's no dinosaurs, though, so it's already automatically less quality, and it wasn't free.
Right.
So there is those problems with it, I guess. Yeah. I wrote down Legend of Zelda 2. That is kind of a game I would like to talk about for a full episode at some point.
Legend of Zelda 2?
Yeah. Because I want to make
I need to
it.
finish that game. Each time I play it, I get like a part ways through it, and then just I don't know if I get stuck or just stop.
Dude, like I was saying, like I could never beat it as a kid. I always got to Dark Link or whatever, your shadow version of yourself, and he always just owned me. And then somebody was brought up in a live stream I did about a month ago that you can just kind of like cheat that by crouching.
Yeah, that was me. I mentioned it to you.
Yeah, fuck, that's so annoying.
Like I had no like nostalgia for this game, and trying to go back to the first time I played it was probably I was like 17, 18.
Okay, see, I have nothing but nostalgia for this game, so this is why you and I should probably talk about it.
That was another one of the
would give me an excuse to actually beat it.
That was another one of the annual Grandparents games, but that game was so hard that I never really gave a good try at it until years later when I got that GameCube disc that had a bunch of Zelda ports on it.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it was one of the games that you kept the levels as you died, so you could just kind of keep going and you would get stronger.
I put some time in with it, but I like same problems where it's just like I can't find the next dungeon, like that kind of stuff.
Are you talking? There's one specifically that like you just need to use an item in a certain point to get it. Yeah, they're.
I think it was that. Yeah, that was. Those were all problems that like me and the internet in like 2002 solved. Like I beat it then, or whenever that port came out. Well, that must have been like 04 or 05 or something.
Nintendo Power, yo.
Oh, okay.
I think I still have that specific issue. There's a picture of a sword and an owl on the front, and it's gold.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta find that issue.
Oh wow, that's going way back.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's how nostalgic this game is. That I had the Nintendo Power. It's just in my mind at all times. I've been playing it again recently, and it's great. I really, really like it for a lot of reasons, but we will get into that more specifically, I think.
If we kind of want to relate that to like Mario 2 or whatever, like this is like pre-pattern established franchises, right?
And again, hitting at the point in my life where nostalgia really takes its hold.
There's that too, but it's also kind of like back when you could find fresh and new twists on things in these games instead of like, well, you know, we don't want to break it. We got our formula down. So they kind of just polish that.
I do like that about Legend of Zelda 2 quite a bit. Also, it made sense. Before they fucked around with the timeline so much, because you defeat Ganon or whatever, you do all this stuff in the first one, and then this takes place years later. The monsters are like the evil dudes are trying to get Ganon back, and you're just trying to stop that. So Ganon isn't a boss in this,
unless you fail. Return of Ganon.
Yeah, see the weird. Like, if we're going to talk about Legend of Zelda, any game that doesn't have Ganon is automatically weird in my mind because the Triforce, like, courage, wisdom, and power, or whatever.
Is that what you're looking for in that one, too? Or are you trying to get some sort of thing to...
No, what I'm saying is, like, any Legend of Zelda game, like, the Triforce is such a thing in all of those that if the game doesn't have Ganon, it doesn't make sense in my mind.
But couldn't someone else be that element or whatever? Like, why does it always have to be that guy?
Because that's just how it works.
But
that's how it's always worked in my mind. I'm not saying like I don't even know the timeline of Zelda games because I don't give a shit anymore.
Right. John, did you get that coffee table book yet?
No, I keep forgetting to. Damn it. I was even at the guy's place today.
Which one?
Okay.
The Hyrule Historia.
Oh, I've been meaning to find a copy of that.
I think my buddy Dan's got a couple copies for sale.
Okay.
Even just for curiosity, like not necessarily like I need to know the timeline. Like that stuff doesn't matter that much.
No, I want the concept art and all the weird other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Insight into this whole thing.
John, you and I will have to talk off camera, off air here. I need a book.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear there's bookstores still.
You're such a dick.
No, don't worry. I'll get you his contact, or I'll try to figure out if he's got some for sale.
It is in bookstores, though, right?
I don't know if it's actually in bookstores. I know it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new bookstore on the internet. But okay, like we've kind of brought up Zelda a bunch. It seems like none of our core crew has that. Like, well, obviously it's between Ocarina or Link to the Past. Like, does anyone care about Link to the Past?
I like Link to the Past.
Link to the Past is great.
As like one of the top favorites.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
I think I would put it up on my list pretty high.
Okay.
Not the highest, but pretty high.
Like, I don't know what happened, but like I was a Super Nintendo owner and I just didn't have it. I just didn't care. It never crossed paths with me. I just didn't own it until
it's probably third or fourth on my list.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of what the other ones would be. I like Link's Awakening a lot.
I've been I'm on the verge of jumping into that. I started playing it, but I was like kind of sick at the time and it was late and I was just like, I don't know, I want to
That game just does some real cool stuff.
Okay.
So, I don't know, John, since we're on this subject now, apparently.
Oh, sorry. Zelda games?
Yeah. What would your top 3 be? Just off the top of your head. I mean, I'm sure we'll do a Legend of Zelda episode.
No particular order. Link's Awakening. Probably Link to the Past in there as well. I don't know what to put in that third one, though, is the thing. Because, I mean, I liked Ocarina. I would probably pick Majora's Mask over Ocarina.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but I have way more nostalgia for Ocarina. So
yeah,
it's a weird battle.
I have a hard time going back to Ocarina. I played the 3DS one because I wanted to play Master Quest.
Okay.
But I don't know. Because you have to play through the main game to unlock Master Quest. So it's just like, I don't want to do this again. I've done this too many times.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Let me throw this out there, though. In your top 5, Twilight Princess anywhere in there?
No.
I really like that game, and the internet and people seem to fucking hate it.
I got halfway through it and I had to stop because of exams. I needed to study.
And you just never went back?
Yeah, I couldn't get back to it.
I never went back to it either. So maybe the last bit's really amazing. I never.
It's pretty good. Did you guys play it on the Wii or the GameCube?
Both.
Okay.
I bought the Wii one at launch. Was like, maybe it's just because of the motion controls. I'll just wait. And then like day one, like I ran out like the next week and bought the GameCube one. And then I was like, no, I think I just don't like it. And then I just stopped playing it.
Yeah. See, the idea of playing a Legend of Zelda game on the Wii is just the worst thing in my mind because I don't want to waggle to do anything.
I want to, like, I've borrowed Skyward Sword recently, and I'm kind of curious to see how that works out.
I would like to play that with you at some point, if that's okay.
Okay.
I'd like to see it, but I don't want to buy it or play all through all of it. Like
sight unseen, or...
Well, the thing is, if you're going to play through it anyway,
like,
I'd like to just join in on that.
I've heard the first, like, 4 hours is terrible. So, do you want me to muscle through that first?
No.
Or you want to see the warts and all?
Yeah, I mean, you have to form an opinion of something.
Yeah, okay. I'll just bring that over, I guess. But Zelda games. Should we move on to talking about Wario games?
Sure.
Wario's Woods is really good. I've talked about it a lot around the internet, but I love that game. It's a fantastic puzzle game, and I think it's cool. And there's a sample in it that sounds like breakfast, and I don't know why they would say that in the context they use it, but it's still great.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine you just got a giant combo and then the voice is just like, breakfast. Like, why would he say that? That makes no sense. But I think that's what he's saying. So, one of the best games.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo version, to be clear.
But I've never played it. I've never played any of them, so.
Got like 2 really long single-player campaign modes for a puzzle game, which I thought was really weird. Like, one, you're playing against like a bunch of different NPC characters, and there's a lot of them. And the other one, you're kind of against Wario, and he's trying to kind of prevent you as Toad from like walking across this giant landscape to get to his castle or something.
Right.
And at some point, that game just becomes insane, and I've never beaten it. Like, I'm in like the 70s or something, stage-wise, 80s maybe, and it's just insanely hard. And I've played a lot of Wario's Woods, so that's kind of just been an ongoing battle over the decades since I first bought it.
Right.
But yeah, that's been a strangely, like, I don't know, just recurring experience. But I don't know. No one else seems to have had much affection for it, but I think it's pretty cool.
Like I said, never played it, so.
Did you guys play the Game Boy, like, Wario games or anything? Or
the Wario Land ones? I love those.
Yeah, those are really good.
Or, like, I guess Super Mario Land 2? Isn't he the antagonist? Like, I, for some reason, never played 2. I just played the first one. A bunch. Like, I have 2 copies of it. But, yeah, Super Mario Land. Those are weird.
Yeah, like, they are really weird. I played 6 Golden Coins or whatever recently. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think now.
It's kind of like in that Mario 2 way. Like, it's just like, just forget the formula. We got like bombs, and there's just like weird flying sections. You're in an airplane or something. Like, just the stuff they'll throw in there.
Yeah.
Did not happen. Or like, you're going up against Sphinx enemies. I don't know if there's Koopas in it for like a long time, if ever. Like, it's just the stuff you're fighting.
Like, there was bees in one point. Like, yeah, just weird stuff.
Yeah, like, let's just throw out all these stock enemies we've been using and just start with weird stuff. And it's the Game Boy. Who cares? We can experiment. I don't know where their minds were when they did that, but it was kind of a neat diversion. I'm not sure where Land 2 went. Does it return to Koopas and all that business, or no?
Land 2?
Yeah. Or the coins or whatever. Like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the hell was going on. Like, there's different worlds. There was like a Halloween or horror like theme area. Like, they have the different themes and stuff. Those were kind of cool. Like, that one in particular, there's like Dracula type monsters and mummies, and it was the whole world was a giant pumpkin.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like things they did elsewhere.
Yeah. They should, like, are those released on, is there any definitive Mario collection where it's like, this is everything of Mario's out there?
No, like, what was, like, they did that All-Stars re-release on the Wii, right? It was like a limited thing?
I don't know. I guess.
He wandered off.
No, I'm still here, sorry.
Okay. Was there a Mario, like, All-Stars re-release thing on the Wii? That was a limited?
It was a 25-year anniversary, I think, or 20.
Did it include any extra games, or was it just those?
No, same ones.
Oh,
didn't even include Mario World. It was just the standard All-Stars.
Well, okay. Because
seems like a missed opportunity
to do kind of like an anthology collection of like these offbeat Mario games, or like, are the Game Boy ones even available on like the Wii store or whatever? Like, can I get Land 2? Play it there.
Well, I played Land 2 on my 3DS.
Yeah, the Game Boy Virtual Console is pretty much exclusively 3DS right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to get that 3DS now, I guess.
Okay. I guess at some point. Wait, well, I guess, not to make it not retro at all and go into like news, that Mario and Luigi thing. There's a new one of those coming out. And it's Luigi focused. So maybe I will get a 3DS sometime. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Fight Night for the Atari. I'm just joking. We can. Let's go to something else. Hey, why don't we talk about those rare shooters? Those were actually a big deal for me too. Like GoldenEye specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get Perfect Dark in there too, that's totally fine. But they're on both of your lists. I didn't put it on mine just because you already had it. So when did you first play that game?
GoldenEye, the weekend it came out, a game I didn't own until probably maybe only 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm just trying to think. No, not 10 years ago. Like 5 years ago, probably. And it was just for like retro sake because I want to play it again. But one of my good friends owned it. Technically, his brother owned it, and they would fight over it all the time to play it. Mm-hmm. So every time I went over there, which was basically every weekend, we would end up playing, like, him and I, and then his brother and his brother's friend, whoever was over, whatever. So there was a good probably half a year where it was just GoldenEye every weekend, both days.
Yeah. No, that game definitely was extremely interesting. I guess I would have been, 10 or 11 or something? Mm-hmm. And I rented it first and then played a bunch of it. And I think it's one of the few times I distinctly remember my parents, like, seeing me playing video games, just like, what are you doing? I was just, like,
shooting. We're just shooting people.
Yeah, I think it was in, what's that level where you have to defend Natalia, like, while she's hacking, and then there's just hella dudes?
Oh, jeez.
I'm just trying to remember what the name of it is, but it's in the cave base area there, I think.
Yeah. It's not Archives.
No, it's not Archives. It's one of the final levels, I think.
Yeah, it's a later level. I was just, like, booking around corners and, like, wasting dudes, and at some point my dad was just like, this is, like, pretty violent. I was just like, oh, I guess. Like, I don't know.
You're just like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, or something. Like, I just, like whatever, the K-47 or whatever, like, I just wasted this dude. And then it was just like, you know, it's a teen game, but, like, there's still, like, red patches on them and stuff, and they have, like, their death animations and everything. It was one of the few times, where, like, violence in games became an issue in my household. And I think forward from there, I was definitely, like, aware that my parents were aware that games got pretty crazy, so I, like, wasn't buying M-rated games or anything until much later.
Yeah.
So I would go to friends' houses to play gnarly stuff.
I think the level you're talking about is Control.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was thinking Control Room, but they stuck with the one-word names.
I don't know what it was. Something about the, like, I think it's the second level, Facility.
Facility was the second, yeah.
I just thought it was amazing. Like, I would just play that stage over and over on, like, different difficulties.
Because you start off in the vent, then you shoot the dude while he's taking a crap.
Yeah, or something. Like, it was just like, this is most like the movie, and it's also just, like, there's a lot of different stuff you get to do in it. That or Library, I guess it was, because there was a point where there could just be infinite guys, and you have that, like, silver pistol. And
I hated Library.
So I just, like, over and over, just, like, camping at a door.
Wasn't it called Archives?
Oh, is that what it's called?
Maybe. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing,
right.
But...
One where you, like, you break out of... Like, you're in a room at the beginning, and you're kind of held by guys.
Yeah, like the walls were white with a green stripe. Like, all over that place, pretty much.
Yes. That's an odd, like, specific level design thing to remember, but it's just like, let me think through, yes, that is a thing.
Well, it's not the only thing I remember. It's the most aesthetically memorable thing that I could relate to anybody, probably.
Always, or whatever. Then there's, like, that tank level with the insanely terrible draw distance.
I think that's called Streets.
Yeah. But
like, it was something very basic like that.
I definitely played many hours of GoldenEye.
For, like, Facility specifically, I played that a lot because that's the level you have to beat in under, I think, a minute and a half to get the invincibility cheat.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's really fast.
And it was on Secret Agent or Perfect Agent or whatever. I think you had to do it. It was on one of the harder difficulties, and you had to beat it in like a minute and a half or something. It was basically like, you shoot the dude, you run out, you just pass everything, you go to the one control room, you shoot so the guys open the door to chase you, then you run past all of them, you do your thing. Like, it's crazy intense. But now I just want to watch a video of someone do it, because it was real hard from what I remember, but it's probably not now. Well, maybe it is with, like, old control schemes and not being used to them. It's probably harder.
I have my N64 hooked up still since the Shadows of the Empire thing. I might just throw GoldenEye in at some point and just look at that again.
I'm sure Paul already said it, but that game aged horribly.
It has. It's aged really bad.
I don't doubt you, but I don't know. Like, in the same way I can, like, deal with Shadows of the Empire's wonky stuff, I might just be like, yeah, whatever, this is just how this is. Like, I know it's bad, but I remember.
It's one of those things that, like, to aim, you have to hold the right bumper and then use the thing and the C buttons to, like, strafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. That's shippable, too.
It's inverted, too.
Mm-hmm.
because that broke my brain for a long time. I had to play all shooters inverted.
Actually, this game came up recently as kind of like just discussions about how weird it is that modern video games like pay money to gun manufacturers because they license the names and everything and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I kind of like that game made up all of its own lingo. Because it's just like, no, whatever, it's the club. It's just, you get used to that. And it just becomes that is the thing.
The club, yeah.
Yeah, or those, like, they come up with their
Soviet
own names. Yeah. Like, it's like, well, it's an AK, but it's the Soviet. That's fine. And you just remember it as that.
Right.
So, and I guess if you want to briefly, like, Perfect Dark, that story gets so silly. Like, there's a gray-headed alien, and you go onto Air Force One.
You had the Farsight, though. It shot through walls, and if you got it, the game was over.
Farsight was so cheap. Oh.
I know. It was so good.
That was a cool... Yeah, that was... Oh, did anyone get into Turok? Were any of you guys Turok fans?
No. You know what? I played the first one like 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
It's got a really weird control scheme.
Does it?
It's one of the few games I can think of where you hold the left prong and the middle prong.
Right. Yeah, because emulating it is a nightmare. So, yeah.
Okay. Like that was another one of those games that like I could, like between 11 and like 16, 17, I was not purchasing violent games myself, so that was a series I played at friends' houses. Specifically the third one and Rage Wars. That was a lot of that happening.
Did you guys have any nostalgia for the RPGs on the SNES like Chrono Trigger or Mario RPG?
Mario RPG for sure.
Mario RPG I have weird stories with, but...
Really?
Oh yeah, we've talked about this. But yeah, check out our archives. I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm not going to relay it. It basically had to do with pornography and getting a weird dirty feeling every time I see that cake boss with the wedding in that game.
It's probably so much worse sounding just without the extra context, but whatever. Did you play a lot of Chrono Trigger back when it was still current?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, because I was
again on
I beat
DS.
it. I beat it on rentals.
Nice.
Okay, I never beat it then. I only beat it actually when it came out on DS.
Okay, yeah, well, it's got like multiple endings too. I think I got like 6 of the endings.
Did you ever play Chrono Cross?
No.
I have not played Cross. Everyone I ask, like, should I play Cross? They always go back and forth on whether I should. That seems a pretty like divided game.
Okay. I played a bit of it, but I haven't gotten nearly as far.
Was it good?
From what I saw, it was like kind of amazing how many different characters there are in it, but almost overwhelmingly so. Like I was just like, I don't even know. I think I missed a bunch of stuff, and I just kind of stopped. But I think there's like a whole bunch of different party like setups you can have over the course of that game, and it's kind of weird. But it seemed okay. It was, Japanese RPG. There was at one point I went up to this treasure chest, right? And then I opened it. It was not a treasure chest. It was a monster and attacked me.
Oh no!
It was a mimic. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that stuff happened. It was it was those. But yeah, Super Mario RPG is. I don't know how I feel about it now. It's a game I tried playing again a little while ago on the Wii. I think it's just like pacing. I think was kind of thing. It's just like that stuff at the beginning I just didn't want to do. So I got kind of.
Can you say that about any RPG game? After you've played it once, you just don't want to do the beginning stuff because the good stuff is way later.
Yes, I guess that's fair. But yeah, I don't know. It's still funny. There's some good humor in there.
John, was that your favorite RPG of all time?
Chrono Trigger?
No, Super Mario RPG.
No, Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI.
Okay, Super Mario RPG Kaizo. Thoughts?
No, never. Never.
All right, fair enough.
Final Fight?
I like you just reading my list like, Final Fight? Okay, well, what about the Donkey Kong Country games?
Those are just not in my like list of things I was into, but what? I was looking at Returns like yesterday and wondering if I should play it or if there would be no value in it because I don't care about that series.
I don't know. It's a fun game, but there's also a 3DS port of it coming out apparently this year that fixes some of the issues the Wii one had, like having to shake the Wiimote to do a roll.
Oh, okay. But like, do you still play the original? I think I can't remember if it was just specifically you guys talking about them or what. But like the original Donkey Kong Country had a certain kind of race-like mentality to it, where you're just kind of running and like volleying through the whole stage. But I don't know, Paul, wasn't that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, like I have a feeling I've actually talked about this twice before. It seems redundant in my mind, but it might have been off air. Basically, my whole problem with the Donkey Kong games, or Donkey Kong Country games specifically, is that I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for them, first of all. But what I remembered liking a lot about Donkey Kong Country 1 when I did play it back in the day is that once you got better at that game and like better and better, you would have a weird momentum that you could get through every level where you're just like constantly moving. And that felt really nice and satisfying. Whereas Donkey Kong Country 2, in their like attempts to make it harder and more replayable, they added a lot. It became more of a puzzle game than like a racing action-y type game, if you wanted to think of it that way, where it was more platformy than like before. Probably there was just obstacles and stuff in your way. There's one area or one, like I can't remember if it was just one stage or one whole area where you're like in a beehive, so you would stick to walls and stick to the ground and stuff like that. So they just did everything to work against what I actually did like about the first one. So 2, I didn't like pretty much at all. I can't remember 3 very much, though. I think I didn't care about 3 because it had 2 of the Kongs I just didn't care about.
I do notice it's not on John's list, so...
3 I was not a fan of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although it had some cool ideas to it. But, I don't know, 2 is the better of the game. I think, technically wise, 3 is a better game than 1. Mm-hmm. But there's something about 3 that just feels off to me.
Is it the fact that you don't give a shit about the Kongs in it?
I like Dixie, and I like Funky. I just don't like Kitty.
Yeah, Kitty sucks. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't have strong, allegiance to specific Kongs, but...
I don't particularly like Dixie either, but that might be because I didn't like Donkey Kong Country 2 anyway. So, for me, she was just a non-entity as a Kong. So, yeah, I don't know.
I play those at friends' houses. But anyway, okay, again, a lot of friends' houses games. Which Bomberman is the definitive one in your mind?
Man, there's been so many Bombermans.
I like 64, personally.
64 is... I don't like it as much as the 2D ones because it's harder to do the 3D bombing.
Right.
I want to say Bomberman for the Dreamcast is probably the definitive one because it was the first online one, and you could also customize your Bomberman with all these crazy costume parts. But I really like Super Bomberman 5, which is a game that we never got over here. Because it had like 16 courses if you had the gold edition, and it had all these really cool mechanics to it. I don't know.
I remember
I probably got over that.
I remember going to rent Bomberman, and they also rented me the multi-tap back in the day. I always thought that was kind of cool. So anytime I think about Bomberman, it had that big box because it came with the multi-tap, so you could play with your friends. That's how I always pictured.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
All right, we could talk forever about old games like in this manner, where there's just lists that grow and change. But do we want to nominate the game of the week?
Game of all time.
Yeah. What is the greatest game that we have talked about
Legend
today?
of Zelda 2.
Okay.
Even I don't really...
look at you.
Even I don't really believe that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to
go with probably Fight Night on the 78.
No, like, what do we all share in common that we can come to a consensus on?
Oh, like, these are, in fact, great. I have Super Mario
I'd say Turtles in
World
Time.
Turtles in Time.
Up in ways most beat-em-ups don't. So, yeah.
I'm going to say the Mario games just straight out.
Yeah, we all have some representation of those on there.
Yeah.
GoldenEye does not, apparently. Don't look at that. You won't understand if you weren't born, that whole lame thing. But, only 90s kids will... That thing. I apologize.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But I mean, the best game on this list that we haven't talked about was Resident Evil. So we'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Do you want to declare what we're talking about next time? Because apparently it kind of might not happen.
It keeps changing. I'm going to say a PS2 game.
Okay.
I don't know what, though.
All right. So check out that console. It's a good one. Play some games. Maybe it'll be the one we talk about.
I think people should keep giving us suggestions.
Right.
Personally.
Okay.
So, remember they made that Bomberman game on the Xbox?
Yeah. Oh, the first person one, Act Zero?
Yeah.
The gameplay on that was alright because it was Bomberman, but man, that aesthetic.
I know. It's so dumb. I love it. Oh man, it totally has the, like, chin down, eyes up thing going for it too. The cover.
Yeah. No. Video games fall within that pretty well. It's pretty good.
Anyways, send suggestions, Killscreen at pixel-response.com. Twitter is at retrokillscreen, all one word. I mean, you guys know we're around. Pixel Response. Bye.